Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Coaching Uncovered podcast. My name is Chris Berry, and I'm going to be your host for today. Joining us, we have Eric Tan. Eric, how are you doing today? Or I should say this morning.
I'm very well, thanks. Chris, currently in Hong Kong, and I go back and forth between Hong Kong and Los Angeles, and I'm stoked to be here today.
Likewise, I'm excited to have you here and to chat about your coaching business and everything that you do. So, as we go ahead and jump into things, can you tell everyone that's either watching or listening what you do?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, I've been in the media, entertainment, and gaming industry for the past 25 years, and I had a really good run, but I've also experienced a few layoffs, and um, instead of wallowing in self-pity, trying to just like applying from one job to the other, I've decided, to take action and to be more of a proactive stance and to really help creative executives such as myself to A, pick themselves back up, and B, build a dream business, that they've always wanted to build, and third, and to really have that work-life balance, that they want. So that's what I do right now. Basically, I coach creative executives who want to start their own online business. And then, basically we have that goal of helping them establish their 10 to 15K a monthly revenue business so that they can get the independence, that they want and spend time with their loved ones.
Yeah, that's awesome. So obviously you shared a little bit of your background. This is something that you're in, that you've done and everything like that,
Yeah.
which makes it a transition. But why jump into it this much? Like what made you want to get started in coaching and doing this?
Yeah, so Chris, great question. There was actually a transitional period. So when I finished my last gig at Riot Games, doing music supervision, music partnerships, I really loved what I did there. So one thing that I did was I launched a creative agency business, basically helping other game studios to do music partnerships. But what I found is that any B2B business just takes a lot of time. It requires lots of stakeholders, requires lots of decision makers, and I needed to have a B2C offering. So I really just had you know, I asked myself the hard question, which is, who do I really want to serve? Who do I think, needs that helping hand? And who do I think, is like the underdog, right? Like I think all like the people, the avatar that I serve is usually creative executives that that have been in industry for 10 to 15 years or even longer, but they just need that someone or something to bring it out of them on what's their strength and what's their value proposition. And I want to be that conduit to help bring that out of them. Because yeah, a lot of people get rusty, especially people who are laid off. Their knee-jerk reactions apply to another role. And I'm there to kind of just, challenge them to go, well, hang on a minute. You actually did a lot. Let's figure out like what's that kind of like value statement. And then do whatever you want with it. Like you could either build a business or maybe you have that clarity that you need that could maybe even land you a different gig should you choose to do it differently. But I do have some sort of bias where I think especially for people that have been in the industry for 10 years or more, there is a lot of value and autonomy in starting your own business.
Yeah, makes sense. So obviously you made this transition, you're doing it. What have been some of the highlights or favorite parts of doing this? And then what have been some of the biggest challenges, we'll say, of jumping into this?
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest wins, if you like, was kind of like without sounding too about myself, but it is about myself. It's my personal growth. Just beginning of last year, I think my LinkedIn was maybe like a few hundred connections. And with the help of a executive coach, he really helped me to put myself out there, and to start, just posting, LinkedIn articles. Previously, I thought I have to have a big news. I thought I have to have something important to say before I post it. He really helped me to kind of break through that barrier. So today, I have a kind of modest, 7.5K following, and I did that organically just by posting articles. So I was really glad that we have platforms like LinkedIn, which kind of reminds me of it's like the Facebook of the old days where you can still grow organically. I would say that's probably the one of my biggest win. And the challenge is, and I guess the win is also just helping. It's just helping people, right? Like, because I think, people that have been laid off are probably like at their most vulnerable, like where they've attached so much of themselves, especially in the entertainment industry, where like everyone's like attached to the big names of the companies, right? Like, oh yeah, I work for Sony Music, or I work for EA Games, et cetera, et cetera. And then once that's taken away, it's like sweeping that rug, off their feet. And then they're like, all of a sudden you're just lost and don't know what to do. But they've actually done a lot. And so it's really satisfying to really, bring that out of people to make them realize that they've actually done a lot. Right. I think that's actually, and then of course, and then, walking through like how they can build their own personal branding on LinkedIn and score their first or second client. Is that 0 to 1? I find a lot of joy in helping to make that happen. Challenges, I would say right now, like if you look at social media, there's a lot of like gurus, right? Like build your seven-figure business. Just to be transparent, I'm not there yet. And right now, so I would say the challenge is to really figure out kind of the more like the right system and process that will work for me and the right marketing systems in place that will help me to eventually get there. So, and I think it requires that's my 2025 goal is really how do I go from like 10 to 15K to 15 to like maybe double that, like 30K or more a month. Not so much of a challenge, but I think it's just, once you get over the 0 to 1, you have to put in the work and then it will happen. So it's just really putting in the work. I think 2025 is to put in the work to double that
Yeah.
monthly revenue. Yeah.
And a lot of coaches are in similar stages. They've started making some money. Actually, I should say this actually. Most coaches never get to the 0 to 1, as you said, right? I've actually started to make some of that money. But then once they've gotten over that hurdle, there's obviously different aspects of growing the business and everything like that. So as you are growing and doing all of that, what are the biggest focuses that you feel you're going to want to put your attention on in 2025 to go ahead and get to, let's say, the 30K or whatever per month that your goal is? What do you think are the biggest focuses that you're wanting to go ahead and do?
Okay. Yeah, very, very good. I would say probably broken down to two parts. I think it's just even better, better marketing. It could be things like, okay, how do I continue to build the top funnel marketing? Am I targeting the right persons? Am I latching on to the right key influencers on LinkedIn so that I can find my potential leads? So it's really keep kind of refining or optimizing that top funnel marketing. That's number one. And I think number two is what can I do in the middle, right, to make my leads even warmer, right? So I think you're doing the right thing right now, where you're like doing that podcast, right? And that thing for me is that apart from my flagship one-on-one coaching, I'm looking to launch like a mini course this year. So like to act as like kind of like an appetizer or like an hors d'oeuvre of a taster of what they're gonna get if they sign up to the more premium one-on-one coaching. And then maybe even work on some sort of kind of free promotional video as a lead magnet. So yeah, because I think that's what I'm working on for this year is to kind of build that bridge so that your leads will be even warmer. Other than like right now, I think right now I really have like my LinkedIn articles, but I think I'm looking to build more bridges this year. Like whether is it a mini course or whether is it like a free trading video so that my leads get even warmer. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And talking about generating the leads, nurturing them, all of that, how are you currently generating? Is it just primarily from those LinkedIn articles and outreach, or is it inbound? What does that look like for your business right now?
Yeah, so for last year, I would say because I'm still quite new, I would say right now it's mostly my LinkedIn articles. And then for a long time, like I'm doing more kind of outbounds now, But for a long time, I was really passive. Like it's more like, okay, anyone that's read my articles who's responded, like, and then I basically wait for them to like come to me, which I realize is not, it's not really like there's a lot of missed opportunities. But I would say for like the first, like like for last year anyway, that was my method. I post articles and then I kind of wait for people to hit me up on LinkedIn. And then that's when like I'll walk them through the sales process. I have like a two calls close, process. But that's what I've been doing for the past, and then now I kind of need to step up more, like kind of, look into who's engaging and look at who's looking into my profile views. I'll be doing more of that now. But yeah, no, that was my method last year. LinkedIn articles and then just wait for them to come to my inbox.
Yeah, true. Have you heard of the 7-11-4 study by Google?
And no, say that again. The seven level, was it?
So it's 7-11-4, and it's a study by Google.
Okay, I think I've heard of the seven touch points. Is the seven referring to seven touch points?
It
Or,
some
or no?
so yes and no, because
Okay,
there's
maybe
other
not. Maybe I butchered it.
no, no, no,
So
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
It is true though,
yeah.
because there's a bunch of different ones that there's on average for a person to learn or resonate with the message, it can be like between 7 and 12. Basically, what Google did is they took thousands of businesses and they analyzed all of their data in regards to acquisition. And what they found is that on average, for a person to go ahead and become a paying client, they need to have 7 different touch points over 11 different times, essentially, and stuff like that, and over four different mediums is what it is.
Oh, and how do they define medium? Is medium a
Email,
channel page or what is it some
channel.
sort okay.
Channel. So like let's say email or Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever that is.
Oh
And so
wow.
as you're
Okay.
going through that, excuse me, I
Yeah.
realized I butchered it. It's 7 hours worth of content. I realized in my head, I'm like, hold on, that doesn't sound right. 7 hours worth of content
Yeah.
over 11 different touch points in 4 different mediums. And so
What's the
ultimately,
difference between touch points and medium?
so touch points is like, okay, so they've read 11 of my different emails. They have seen 4 LinkedIn articles, 2 emails, 3 YouTube videos, whatever it is.
Ah,
And then the
okay.
medium is like Instagram, LinkedIn, email, phone call, text message. Those are the mediums,
I
essentially.
see. 7-11-4. Okay, yeah, that's very helpful.
And
Yeah.
so
It's
ultimately,
pretty
that's
fascinating, isn't it, Chris? I think maybe like the past 5 years, social media is all about focus, right?
uh,
And then I can kind of see like there's a trend now towards like diversify. Like
uh,
like
yes.
in whatever we do. It could be coaching, it could be business strategy. Like I think it might be a reflection of the I guess somewhat of a downturn economy that we're in right now, right? But yeah, I find that did you notice that? There's like kind of sea change of like
Oh,
past 5 years, oh, it's like focus. But now I feel like we're kind of now transitioning to the kind of like the diversify phase, I guess.
in regards to omni-channel, or as in like
Everything like
ways, or
omni-channel offering, just
mm,
being anywhere, everywhere,
yeah.
not don't leave any stone unturned, like
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that things are changing, and one of the biggest things actually for me, there was a, I don't know if you've seen it. There was a, it's the General Social Survey in the United States actually did this report, the survey, and they
yeah.
found that right now person-to-person trust in the United States is one of the lowest points of ever, and like
Really?
in
Wow.
history.
That's
And so I
fascinating.
think that's and so I think that's another reason why people have started going omni-channel. Because like you went ahead and said, if you only see a person on Facebook, don't get me wrong, it's good. But if you see me on LinkedIn, you see me on Facebook, you're getting emails from me, you see me on YouTube, you just start seeing me in all these different scenarios. It gets those touch points, it gets the hours, and it's all the different things. So you start just trusting someone more, whether it's conscious or subconscious. People are like, oh yeah, I know this guy. So now when there's an offer to get on a call, when there's an offer to go ahead and buy, it's like, oh yeah, I already know Eric. Like, yeah. So there's that, whether that's conscious or subconscious, it allows you to go ahead and obviously get more sales. So I agree with you. And I think that's kind of the reasoning why we're seeing more of a transition in that direction.
Okay, excellent. Okay, I learned something new today. 7-11-4. Okay.
Yeah, you can look it up. They have a bunch of stuff about it, but it definitely helps, and it's exactly in alignment with what obviously you were saying of like, okay, what are the focuses for 2025? It's building out all of those different things from getting people. I call it the CGE, your community growth ecosystem, and you can imagine like a big spider web. And so someone maybe sees one of your LinkedIn articles one time, but the more that they consume of your LinkedIn articles, of your emails, of your videos, of a mini course, the more that they do, the closer they get to the middle of the spider web, your CGE. And it's now just this ecosystem. Like even for example, me, I have that free community I showed you. I run Facebook ads into there. And then from then, people just naturally start consuming my content. They're like, oh, wow, this Chris guy, he actually has some cool stuff. And the next thing you know, what happens? I have a paid community, like $97 a month. And then from then, you can go ahead and it goes up into the higher level programs. But the more people interact, the more engaged and more that they like and trust you, and the more likely they are to actually buy higher stuff from you. So
Ah.
it's fun. So you got me all talking. I was supposed to interview you. You got me talking about.
Sorry. Back on me then. Back on.
No, I'm joking. But as you can obviously tell, it's fun, and that's the cool part behind it because there's two prongs, in my opinion. There's the side of what you said of diversification, omni-channel, and doing all these things. But what a lot of coaches I find sometimes get wrong in the early stages, especially. Let's say you want to do 5 different channels: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and let's say emails. And so we only have so much attention. We only have 100% of our attention. So this is going to get 20, 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 this gets 20. The hard part is that if you focus on one, it's difficult as it is starting a new business. Now you're diversifying and you're doing all this from the get-go. It makes it difficult. So
Yeah.
ultimately, what I've found is like, okay, focusing on one to get the initial traction, to get the initial clients, and then
Yes.
continue to adding
You need to
diversifying.
repurpose. You need to start to repurpose, right? Like, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it's fun though. It's a game. That's how I see. It's a
Yeah,
business.
I think on days, yes, it could be tough, but I think it's really to kind of appreciate, like, to kind of reframe and go, wow, now I can't believe I have these platforms that can help me spread the word, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was never been easier to think about it. Like rewind 20 years ago, it was not this easy to get in front of tens of thousands, hundreds
Oh
of
my
thousands.
God, I was thinking, remember when Instagram first came up and like what is it? Like the only worry is like what kind of filter should I use
Yeah.
for a
Well,
picture of my hash brown? You know, even before
exactly.
hashtags, like
I even remember when Facebook bought Instagram. It was like, you're stupid. You paid too much money. Instagram is one of the biggest platforms out there now. So it's interesting. So anyway,
yeah,
back to it. So generating leads primarily through your articles on LinkedIn, waiting for the inbound leads. You did a little bit of outbound. As we're stepping into 2025, the game plan for you is how can I continue to bolster all of these different things, right?
yeah,
Top of funnel marketing, as you said, make the leads warmer, get them in your CGE and such. Let's say you've now generated a lead. They're somewhat interested. They're like, hey, I see your stuff, Eric. You seem really knowledgeable. Let's have a conversation. They get on
yeah.
the call with you. What is the process sales wise that you take them through in order to turn them from a lead into a sale?
Excellent. Okay, so excellent question. So I have because I find that, you know this, I think with high ticket, it's probably rare to do a one call close. Right? I mean, kudos to you if you get to it. But like for me, like for high ticket close, I break it down to a two call close. So usually the first call is what I call a discovery call, where basically understand more about their problem, like the various phases, right? Like like problem awareness, solution awareness, um, consequence, ideal criteria. And then once I have that information, I pause from there and then I ask for a second call where I'll then walk through them on like the kind of like the solution and ideal criteria and to ascertain and if that's what they're looking for. If yes, then you go into commitment and then closing. So yeah, for me personally, I have a two call close process.
Yeah. So take them on the two call close. Part one is discovery, getting to know them, their problems, what they're facing.
Yeah.
When you're on the second call, what's your framework? What do you kind of walk them through? Is it just like,
Second
hey,
call is really my main. Okay, this is it's really bridging. Okay, this is my teaching, this is my program in philosophy, and then like how do you marry that to the person's problem or desired state, desired outcome. And from there, yeah, just making sure that it works out okay. And then I do the whole like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, do you think, with one being like, oh, I want to hang up on you, and 10 is like, heck yeah, like, where do you stand? And then from there, it's like it's either like a high eight, or like if it's not, like if it's like a six, then usually you probably have to deal with some kind of objection handling. Is it a price thing? Is it a I need to speak to the spouse, or like board of director thing, or like or I haven't seen results before, or like I'm looking for a guarantee, etc. And then you handle the objection there before closing. Yeah.
Okay. So person goes through that process, becomes a paying client. What are some things you do in order to keep clients happy? Obviously, I know you have probably your process where you're going to teach them. Is there any like tips and tricks of your life? Look, I found this which really keeps people happy, or this is really important to do to make sure my clients are getting results. Is there anything that comes to mind that you do with your clients?
Yeah, no, well, another great question. So I think I love to like offer a bit of a personal touch. So after they, hand in their credit card, and then, basically, you know, what I do is like, welcome them to the community, congratulating them on investing on their growth. And what I'll do there, and I think it doesn't get talked about enough, is I give them or we exchange like WhatsApp. I think that's one of the things I do. And what that does is like what I want to do is like I use that. I tell them, okay, it's like a channel where you can like ping me for any questions or even emergencies. But what I also do is that once in a while I'll give them like a daily nugget, like a
Mm,
daily motivation nugget on video. Like I'll give them a video note so it feels personal,
yeah.
right? Like
Hmm.
I'm like, hey Chris, good morning. I know today you're gonna be, facing XYZ challenge. Try doing ABC, and then I'll wish you good luck, and I'll speak to you in our next session. Even something like that. Like I
Little
that's like a little kind of personal thing that I do to kind of, just to make my mentees, feel good about themselves, that we have this relationship now, right?
things. No, it definitely makes sense. So, as we begin to go ahead and wrap up, one last question I did have for you
Yeah.
is we've obviously walked through the process of your business, why you got involved, challenges, highlights, marketing, sales at the end, delivery. Let's say you're rewind or knowing what you know now. If you were to rewind and talk to Eric right as you're getting started or right before you started, knowing what you know today, what advice would you give the old Eric?
Ooh, that's a great one, and I haven't really thought about it. Uh, I think I just want to tell him that it's
Mm,
possible to build this business.
yeah,
Um, I grew up, I have a bit of a like a, I faced like low self-esteem issues as a kid. And I've been a people pleaser, and I always thought that like everyone is like an authority figure, that's not possible. And the fact that I was able to see like my LinkedIn growth and kind of work with clients who are willing to pay for me, it's been mind-blowing.
yeah,
So yeah, I just wanna like kind of just handhold Eric and go, look, this is gonna be scary. You might not believe it, but it's possible. So just put in the work, and then you'll be surprised at your own capability.
yeah, sure. I like it. Well, Eric, it has been a pleasure going ahead and meeting and chatting and talking about coaching business and everything like that. For anybody that really resonated with your mission, your message, maybe wants to even work with you and just connect in general, what's the best way for people to get connected with you?
My dominant platform is LinkedIn. So if you search Eric Tan, I don't know, one of my old companies, like Riot Games or something like that. Eric 10 Riot Games. Like you should be able to find me. Yeah.
I like it. Well, once again, Eric, it was a pleasure, and I look forward to chatting more soon.
Thank you so much, Chris. Take care.
Absolutely. Okay, awesome, everyone. I hope that you were able to get as much value as I did out of this episode. As you can tell, Eric got me all excited talking about all these different things and throwing ideas back and forth with each other. Normally, I like to throw two things. It was my original thought, but Eric added in the last one that I also want to touch upon. The last one that just came to mind is the little touches that he has with his clients and delivery. He adds the personalization. It's not just thank you for your money, here's your result or whatever. Don't get me wrong, of course that's why they joined, but when we show that we have that care, that we really don't just see them as a number, but as a person, as a partner, and helping them grow and wherever they're looking to go, that makes a really big difference. And you can tell obviously Eric does that with all of his clients. So that's one thing I really enjoyed. Second thing is building out your ecosystem, right? Eric talked about in 2025, improving the top of marketing funnel, make the leads even more, and just getting people involved within this entire ecosystem, because it makes things a lot easier when people know, like, and trust you before you're even getting on a call with them. So that was another massive thing that stood out to me. And then the third one is just providing value up front. Eric's whole philosophy, as you heard from last year marketing, and his main focus was providing value, creating articles and everything like that. And that's really the thing, because especially as we discuss in today's environment, today's marketplace in the US is the one I know best. There are so many people that have been burned by other coaches that are skeptical of online coach, it's a scam, whatever it is. And so when you're able to come in and provide value and they can see, oh, wow, like this individual could really go and help me do whatever it is, it leads to a much easier process. And it makes things a lot better, in my opinion, both in regards to how I feel I'm providing value to people and in regards to you get to close more deals. So these were three things that stuck out to me from this episode with Eric. If you guys did like this episode, please make sure to go ahead and drop a like. If you'd like to see more like this, make sure you subscribe, and we will see you on the next episode of the Coaching Uncovered podcast.